don't hold back on those who attack me, even if they do happen to be women.
Huh? Wait, hold on, what's happening? What are you doing? That hurt!
He was ugly, musty, and crusty until one day, while playing his favorite erotic game in his filthy apartment, he gets a revelation. This tells him to get a life, teleporting him into this game in the process as the Demon Lord. Now, with a new life ahead of him with no video games or air conditioner, he has to find how to live in such a world. Episode 1. Staring at his favorite game within his musty room from all the sweaty games he plays, he stares at his favorite game. With him having played this same game for 15 years, he decides it's finally time to drop it and get a life. Right when he tries to delete the game, he gets called by a god bringing him into this very world. When he looks around, he feels like it's some sick dream, not having seen grass within the past 15 years. He then notices his strange clothing, so he approaches the water to check himself out. To his surprise, he finds himself as his in-game character, the Demon Lord Kunai. After seeing this, he acts like a true Demon Lord, screaming out in agony for becoming an old man. He claims that this all must be a dream, so he calls for the admin to appear before him. Somehow it does appear, so he puts in the password that he just so happens to know, but it tells him he has no access to these powers. To make up for his saddened expression, he starts chain-smoking until some blonde girl appears before him. She tries to tell him to run, but before he can, a big ugly monster appears before him. It stares down at Kunai and informs him he will eat him for dinner. Kunai knows, however, that he has new powers, so he begins harnessing his energy. He then sends out all of his previously hidden daggers out at the demon, taking it out with ease. Once he finishes this monster, the blonde girl calls him the Demon Lord, falling to her knees. When she talks, he wonders how he can understand her, so he decides to treat her kindly. First, he asks her why she is calling him a Demon Lord in the first place, so she explains. Apparently the legends say that soon the Demon Lord and hero will come down, but his strength makes her think he is the Demon Lord. She then introduces herself as AKU, asking him to help her with her travels. Before he does, he asks her about his past life, but learns that this is indeed an entirely new world. She informs him that the monster from before was sealed, but it broke free from the Holy Church. With the Holy Church being the strongest people in this world, he realizes he was dragged into the middle of a big fight. After this, he tells AKU to go clean up, noticing she smells like complete trash. She quickly gets undressed and soon forgets why she was even in there in the first place, splashing around like a Magikarp. While she does this, she looks behind her to watch Kunai, but finds him doing strange things. She assumes he is getting materials to cook her up, but in reality, he is just giving her some soap. Before we continue, let's take a moment to answer the question of the day. Who is your favorite demon king in all of anime? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out in the next video. Now, back to the recap. Now with this out of the way, he continues to wander around the forest with hopes of rebuilding his stats. Previously, he had maxed out stats that allowed him to easily defeat any monster, but now with his level dropped, he is unsure what to do. AKU then finds him and presents the soap and towel back to him, calling him the Demon Lord again. He asks again why she is calling him this, so she explains that the monster he defeated could easily destroy the entire kingdom. After hearing how strong he is, he decides to venture that way once again, with hopes of gaining experience. Considering she is mad slow, he offers to pick her up in order to go and defeat the monster for good. This causes her to be brought to tears, informing Kunai that she doesn't feel worthy to be on his back. With her being a filthy peasant girl who was cast away by even the lowest of the lows, she thinks his kindness is too much. As she talks, he gets tired of her yapping, so he picks her up regardless. He tells her that she just took a bath, so there's no reason to be tweaking out like that. Eventually, after a long walk, Kunai decides to try and see if he is able to write. He writes in Japanese, and somehow she is able to read it despite speaking a different language. Kunai asks more about his past life, and realizes that she has nothing to go back to. With that being said, he decides to just kidnap her and take her to fight the monster again. Upon arriving, he instantly notices a strong stench coming from the cave, forcing him to set AKU down at the outside. When he enters, he notices tons of dead people lying around with a grandma-looking demon at the end. She tells him that she has granted many wishes in her lifetime, but this will be the final one. Before he asks for his wish, he learns that the people behind him asked for the Demon Lord to come down. Because of their wish, he was summoned into this world along with other strong demons. Griol, the demon he had fought earlier, is currently trying his best to become stronger in order to stop the Demon Lord's reign and become it himself. To do this, he is using human sacrifices along with him, killing all the people behind him. With this being said, Kunai asks for her to send him back to his original word, but she denies his request. Instead, she places a skull ring on him, making him feel embarrassed. He asks her why she is giving him an edgy ring, but before he gets an answer, she turns into sand. Now, with this ring being forced on him, he wonders what to do, knowing someone is sure to make fun of him for it. Following this, he asks AKU to show him the nearest town, hoping to get adapted to this world. She assumes that he doesn't want her to come with him, so she gets saddened. Before she starts crying, he informs her she can go along with her, causing her to ask for a request to go pick up some stuff from her house. He agrees, so the two of them begin running towards her filthy house while talking about the past. AKU informs him that because she is so broke, she has never taken a bath in clean water before. They eventually arrive at her village, so she enters not thinking much. As she does, Kunai decides to vanish himself and use telepathy to talk to her. He informs her that she has nothing to worry about with her being nearby, showing he wants to see what she is up to. The villagers then begin throwing rocks at her, making him enraged by their actions. He considers attacking them but stops when his ring starts lighting up, telling him to purge the evil. Kunai tries to tell him he isn't evil, but the ring reminds him that he created this very world with the people picking on AKU. After some time, he overpowers the ring and runs over to the peasants, showing hostility. He begins chain-smoking again and tells AKU to get her things while ignoring them entirely. She abruptly calls him the Demon Lord, causing the villagers to get even more frustrated. They call her trash for bringing him to this place, so he decides to just burn their house down. Without getting her items, he runs away, committing a hit and run. She makes her question why he is doing all of this for her, but he decides to just tell her to cheer up. She thanks him once again for everything, and the two dash into the horizon, hoping to get to the Holy Kingdom. Episode 2. In another part of the world, a noble girl named Luna rides along her carriage, telling her rider to keep it more steady. She claims that if she has a sore bum, then it will be his fault for her losing to the Demon Lord. He informs her that she is just some 16-year-old girl, so he highly doubts she could even leave a scratch on someone like the Demon Lord. As she arrives in this town, a bandit goes to inform his thug lord that Luna has arrived. With the thug lord being known as the chief of them all, Wengol he holds as mighty of a name as his face implies. While Luna heads into the area, Kunai and AKU spend their time traveling close by. Because it is getting late, Kunai decides to use his inventory to whip out some survival items. With one of them summoning a whole house, she becomes overjoyed, never seeing a house so nice. He explains that this house can block attacks from even missiles, making it completely invincible. Once they enter, it comes equipped with a bath, causing Kunai to inform her to wash up. He apologizes for it being so small, but reminds her of her lineage, claiming she is a filthy peasant girl who should be appreciative. He then goes to lie down looking at the stars, wondering if he gains enough skill points if he can use his admin powers again. As he thinks, he realizes that the only way he could go back would be to find someone as powerful as the Wishmaster from earlier. AKU then enters his room and finally doesn't reek, so he compliments her. Upon hearing this, she crawls into his bed, hoping to sleep alongside him. He informs her that he isn't as old as she thinks, so she shouldn't be so hasty around him. Meanwhile, Wongol sits on a rock awaiting Luna's arrival. To his surprise, it's not Luna, but rather AKU and Kunai advancing down the path. He thinks they are bait to draw him out, so he decides to let them walk a bit further before taking them out. As he walks, Kunai reveals that he has been aware of their presence all along, taking out their incoming attacks with ease. He uses a shield to block their attacks, making him realize they are all below level 30. Because of his status, they are unable to even land an attack on him, forcing the thugs to emerge. Wongol appears before him and makes him realize that this man used to be his old boss. He asks him if he's his old boss, using his name in the process. Wongol claims that he has no clue who that is, making Kunai wonder how he is so similar to this man. He then calls Kunai an old man, enraging him, eventually causing the two to banter between each other. Amidst this, AKU tells him to run away, but he proves his strength by flicking someone back with ease. Then suddenly, a bunch of light rays appear, revealing Luna has arrived at the scene. This forces Wongol to run away in fear, but they are no match for her long-range light magic attacks. After tanking her hits, he wonders what to tell her, asking if she wants to apologize for attacking a random civilian. She refuses to apologize, so instead she introduces herself as one of the 3 great magicians, Luna. He tells her he doesn't care about her standing, so she becomes frustrated, sending in her guards. Thanks to his barrier, none of them can land a scratch on him, forcing Luna to realize he isn't just some random guy. He then picks her up and informs her that it's punishment time, giving her a spanking. He continues to beat her until he is satisfied, showing her no mercy despite her being a girl. For some reason, she just lets all of this slide without sending in a single counterattack. Once he finishes punishing her, he heads out alongside AKU, leaving her to think about her actions. In the process of punishing her, he stole all of her money as well. After some time, he arrives at the town, so he walks around looking for something to spend all of Luna's money on. He considers buying a sex slave, but the typical meat skewers catch his attention before he does. He buys himself and AKU each a skewer, allowing them to finally eat after arriving in this world. They then head to the inn to find somewhere to sleep, telling the clerk he wants the best room. Without hesitation, he presents a gold coin, making him run into the back to get it ready. After a few minutes, the clerk re-emerges this time, presenting them with the finest room of their establishment. Kunai decides to check out the view, where he notices how good the breeze is. AKU claims that it can't get nicer than this, but Kunai reminds her that he is the Demon Lord. With this being said, he plans on one day building a castle to reflect his greatness. He then heads into town to buy AKU some new clothes, him being tired of her filthy peasant clothes. To pay for her new clothes, he whips out a giant gold coin, making the greedy attendant send all of his workers to help her out. After this, he asks for an ashtray, to which the attendant tells him he can use his hands. This makes Kunai a bit weirded out, so he asks just for a place to sit, where he offers to let him sit on him doing some kinky stuff again. He ignores the man, and eventually AKU exits the back room with a new dress on. He notices how cute she is, so he considers buying her this dress, but knows it would be better if he got her more clothes. He ends up buying everything the clerk has, heading to a restaurant after this. As he eats, people watch over him and overhear that he spent a giant gold coin without a second thought. They wonder if he is some rich noble from another country, not knowing he is actually the Demon King. With this being the first time AKU has received such special treatment, she asks him why he is being so nice to her. She offers to pay him back in any way, no matter what it is, causing Kunai to start scheming. While they talk, Luna enters the restaurant and demands that Kunai return her money back. He decides to mediate the situation, asking her to sit down and stop causing a disturbance. She protests, but he reminds her of what happened last time, so she follows suit. Now with her chilled out, he buys everyone in the restaurant a free bottle of wine to make up for this. He then treats Luna to a meal, causing her to be even more mad, knowing he is just spending all of her money. After this, the two head back to the inn, where AKU explains how important Luna is to this world. He cares not about her, so he decides to pick up AKU and bring her into his room. Shortly after he does, Luna bangs on his door, telling him she has nowhere to stay because he stole all of his money. He asks her to go get a job then, but she tells him she at least needs a place to stay for tonight. Upon hearing this, he hands her back her money, but she continues with her outburst. She informs him that this is pretty much her room since he spent her money, thus making her think she is allowed to stay inside. Meanwhile, a blonde babe is seen marching full speed ahead towards the town, with hopes of putting Luna in her place. Episode 3. That night, Luna decides to take a bath alongside AKU, showing her grace. She tells her that even though she is someone of well-standing, she's allowing a peasant girl like her to bathe with her. Kunai then begins inspecting the various things he bought for AKU, placing them into his inventory. He explains that previously a player could only hold 10 items, but now he is able to store an infinite amount of things. The girls then exit the bath, so he tells Luna to come talk to him. He asks her about something called the Cherub, a previously sealed demon lord. With the Holy Kingdom taking him out and sealing him, the peace of the kingdom is held by this sealing. While they talk, the thugs march towards the town, including the busty blonde babe named Killer Queen. She plans on getting revenge on Luna, thinking she shouldn't have let her walk away unscathed in the first place. While they talk, she reveals that she thinks the Demon Lord is just a big fraud, knowing there is no way it could exist. She reveals that Luna is her sister, making her mad at her for hiding information and attacking her thugs. Later that week, Kunai eventually gets all the information about the deities he needed to know about. With the location of the gods being unknown, she informs him the only help she can give is informing him about their lives. As he walks, he realizes that the stone statue from before was one of the gods he was looking for, causing him to realize he needs to go to the capital. Although he wants to go there, he needs to make some money, so he heads into a nearby antique shop. Here he haggles with the shop owner, presenting a used tea bowl from his hometown. The clerk thinks it's a well-made piece, so he asks how much he wants to buy it for. Kunai reveals he is broke right now, so he doesn't need much. Just one giant gold coin. The merchant tells him although this is an absurd amount, he reveals he has heard the rumors about him. Because of this, he decides to present him with the giant gold coin, hoping to gain his favor. He then leaves the establishment, making him realize how easy it is to make money in this world. He goes back to the inn, but is stopped when he overhears the blonde girl screaming out for Luna. While all of this goes down, some sketchy-looking men are seen chanting around a demonic circle with hopes of bringing illness upon the holy knights. Kunai, on the contrary, watches as Killer Queen sits outside of the inn with a large army. She demands for Luna and the demon lord to appear before her. When Luna finally arrives at the scene, she is too late with her older sister already being mad. She tells Luna if she can't defeat the fake demon lord, then she should just go back to sleep. Luna counters, however, explaining the demon lord exists. But she is soon interrupted when the sketchy men from before start sending in attacks towards Killer Queen's way. With a single slash, she deflects all of the incoming attacks, showing she won't be an easy target. After this attack, Kunai recognizes the men's outfit, so he wonders if they are related to the people he saw in the wishing well. The two groups then enter an all-out brawl with the Killer Queen and Luna seeming more like the evil ones. As the fight goes on, one of the hooded men eventually whips out his ultimate attack. He opens a crate, and it spawns Hades, causing anyone who touches it to instantly lose their strength. They then take advantage of this and send in a barrage of arrows, but thankfully it's blocked by one of the grunts. Hades eventually reaches him, so he wonders what to do, but he is told what to do by his ring. It tells him to just spawn a grenade and blow everyone up. Then tries to take control of Kunai, exerting its presence throughout his body. He tries to resist it, but his body doesn't move how he wants, so he resorts to his last option. He uses his administer options to gain back control of his body, summoning in a huge light. With this attracting everyone's attention, they wonder who could be responsible for this power. Then suddenly a white-haired man with a dragon on his back appears and asks, "What's going on?" He looks around and finds the two girls on the ground, causing him to ridicule the sketchy men. They then rush towards him but are no match for his strength. With a single hit, he takes out all the men rushing towards him, causing them to realize he isn't some pushover. Killer Queen sees all of this go down and thinks he is super cool with his strange getup. While watching him, she begins to gain feelings for him, seeing how strong he is. After displaying his powers, the sketchy men get scared beyond belief, not knowing who they are up against. The man then sends in a barrage of hand-to-hand combat skills, forcing them on the retreat. As they run away, he claims nobody can escape the dragon, sending in even more attacks their way. This time he sends in a full-fledged dragon, wiping out the remainder of their forces. Upon seeing all of this, Killer Queen gets starstruck by his skills. She tries to answer him, but is too embarrassed to even speak around him. Before he leaves, he tells her he will come back to save her if trash like them ever tries to hurt her again. She decides to ask for his name before he leaves. He introduces himself as Zero, a dragon from a distant land who works to save beautiful ladies. Zero then leaves without saying another word, leaving Killer Queen to have a new love interest. While this happens, the leader of the hooded men is seen in a back alleyway with his crate of Hades. He wonders how someone so strong could appear before them. Meanwhile, Kunai barfs into a corner acting like a drunk. He talks about Zero's actions, eventually asking AKU if she saw him. AKU reveals that she didn't see him firsthand, but she heard from Luna that he was super cool. She then asks why he is so curious about him, causing Kunai to deny all the allegations around her. He reveals that Zero is actually his side character that he feels embarrassed to play with. As all of this happens, a white-haired mage named Yuki is seen licking on her lollipop. Her busty companion Mika emerges, so she asks if she wants a bite. Mika, however, denies her request and informs her that they need to get back to work already. They head over to the guild board and look at quests until they stumble upon a bounty, with Kunai's face being printed on it with a large bounty. They wonder if he is the real demon lord or not. In another part of the world, Kunai is seen traveling alongside Luna in her carriage. He asks her why he has to come along with her, to which she claims he has to be her bodyguard from now on. She tells him he must like to feel her butt anyways, so he should stop complaining. Episode 4. As they travel, Kunai tells Luna to change into a new outfit that draws less attention. She assumes it's something weird, but AKU informs her it's just a normal fit to make her look good. Meanwhile, Mika and Yuki travel through the desert together, wondering when they will reach the end. As they walk, Yuki tells her that she wishes she could have as big of breasts as she does, causing Mika to reveal she is a ladyboy, so she can't even get her size. They eventually find some monsters before them, so they stop moving forward, knowing they could get attacked any moment. The two ready their weapons and look around to find a large pack of wolves. Meanwhile, Kunai proposes to exit the carriage to smoke, while Luna changes into her new clothes. As he stands around chain-smoking per usual, he wonders if he should try fighting some monsters, knowing his progress is being halted. Then suddenly the two emerge from the distance, causing Kunai to think of this as a great opportunity to gain some experience. They tell Kunai to run away, hoping he can take on the monsters for them. With no other option, Kunai decides to just fight all of the monsters. Taking a deep breath before sending in his strongest attack, he exerts his presence and tells the others not to move while he takes care of them. With the first wolf dashing towards him but getting smacked back by his barrier, he realizes they can't harm him whatsoever. Because of this, he gets a confidence boost and begins using his skills. With the first attack taking out many wolves, and the second even more, the girls realize just how strong he is. In the end, he takes out a majority of the wolves without raising a finger, causing him to re-enter his carriage. He leaves the other two behind, making them realize he is the rumored demon lord they have heard about. AKU, on the other hand, tells him that watching him fight made her heart skip a beat. She knows that even if he is portrayed as an evil person, she will never leave his side. He also notices Luna's new outfit, so he asks how she feels about him flexing his strength. She claims that he looked cool, causing him to tell her she also looks good in her new outfit. After hearing this, she blushes a bit and makes Kunai realize he has a chance with her. Once they stop, he decides to check out his skill window, where he gets excited after seeing his skill points. He informs them that he needs to take care of something, so he whips out his base. He summons it instantly, causing the girls to become stunned by this magic. Without hesitation, they enter the base and go about their day, causing Kunai to offer the horseman a smoke in exchange for his help. After the first inhale, he recognizes some good stuff, telling Kunai he isn't used to smoking gold. Kunai then leaves him alone, heading further away to start summoning one of his aides. Within the game, he previously had 8 aides each with their own skills that are unlike anyone else. Because he can only summon one currently, he has to think long and hard about this. He eventually realizes that everyone in his party already has enough strength, so he should summon someone smart. After a bit of thinking, he considers summoning a mad scientist who he thinks could surely help him. He eventually decides to make it happen, summoning Yu, the mad scientist. With a Japanese-like appearance and sleek, long legs, he instantly realizes it was the right decision. Yu informs him that she is here to help him with anything he could possibly need. This excites Kunai, realizing the character he created is standing before him and speaking. He begins explaining everything he knows about this world while Luna haggles AKU. She asks her to ask Kunai to give her this house as a present, making her wonder if that's even possible. Meanwhile, Yu informs him that she is caught up now on the situation, telling him she thinks the first thing they should do is head to the Nightless City. Within the game, the Nightless City was the final area of the world, making for tons of advanced technology. Yu then raises the question to ask if she thinks they were summoned here for a reason rather than just by coincidence. He's unsure about this, but knows it wasn't a fluke in him getting teleported here. She asks him for her first job, so he asks her to upgrade this house into a large hospital. Speaking on this topic, he tells her that she isn't allowed to kill anyone, knowing it would only diminish his image even more. He then introduces her to the others, making them realize how fine she is. Luna asks where this girl even came from, so he explains that he summoned her in. Although this makes no sense to her, she is forced to go along with it, eventually leading to Kunai asking her to heal Aku's leg. She approaches with crazy eyes, then transforms her hand into various medical tools, while acting crazy to her. Kunai notices this, so he tells her to chill out, causing her to get back to work. Yu injects her leg with the strange serum she has, thus alleviating the pain. She follows this by brushing it with her other hand, thus healing the scar entirely. AKU then tries to stand up, where she notices it's much easier to move around. With this healing, she thanks him for his help, telling him she never thought she would be able to walk normally again. They then go for a walk where AKU reveals that she will never leave him, claiming she is committed to him. Kunai then goes to thank Yu, placing a hand on her shoulder in the process. When she gets touched by him, she begins blushing, realizing he is finally noticing her feats. She gets devoted to him as well, much like AKU after seeing how kind he can be. Episode 5. Later that week, the other two arrive in town and begin speaking about how great the Demon Lord is. Yuki tells the others that he is starstruck by his tactics and wishes he could get with him. Mika reminds him that he is a dude, asking if he plans on tricking the Demon Lord into messing with someone like him. She reminds him that the Demon Lord is someone powerful that they can't take lightly. Yuki reminds her that he saved her as well, asking if she has any feelings towards him. After these events, the sketchy hooded Satanists meet with their leader, who happens to be the leader of the Satanists. He claims that although he revived the Demon Lord, he thinks that it still isn't enough. He tells the others that they need to destroy the holy capital in order to let Hades feast on all of their sufferings. Once this is said, his minions leave the room, causing Utopia, the leader, to wonder where it all went wrong. Meanwhile, Kunai continues traveling through the forest on his way to the capital, hoping not to run into any more trouble on the way. Eventually, they stumble upon a shabby-looking town, so Kunai asks what they are doing in such a run-down village. Luna informs him that this is his hometown, so he should stop roasting it. Despite this, he still calls it filthy, wishing he could leave it already. To help with his headache of being in such a trash town, he decides to start chain-smoking as usual. As he wanders around, he finds various people standing around, doing absolutely nothing with their life. He soon realizes that Luna is being abused by the church, considering the fact that she is forced to protect this land. Knowing this, Kunai thinks this would be the perfect place to build his base. He tells Luna that he would like to borrow a corner of the village, showing he plans on opening up a clinic. With you as the owner of the clinic, it will surely gain tons of traction and bring in loads of people. He also plans on making a hot spring resort and large casino in order to rack in as many profits as possible. He knows that he can slow sell off soap here in order to make even more money. One of the villagers then emerges and welcomes Luna home, but soon stops when he realizes who is standing behind her. With the Demon Lord being around, he gets cautious, causing Kunai to inform him what he is doing. He explains that he plans on opening up some shops over here, so he should go and tell the church. The man asks to let him talk it over with his bosses first, but Kunai informs him that he cares not what the church says. He then sends the man on his way, hoping the church will just allow him to do as he wants. He also promises Luna that he will pay her more for her help, causing her to think all is good. Episode 6. Within the holy capital, some girls talk about the Dragonkin, thinking that they are fake. These girls are the busty, purple-haired S-rank adventurer Mink and the S-rank adventurer Organ. They talk about how if the Dragonkin was true, then the beast people would be all over him by now. With this being said, they conclude that it must have been a facade, informing them there's no way he's real. The bartender then walks over and presents them with a wanted poster for Kunai, informing them he is the self-proclaimed Demon Lord. After looking at it, she begins acting like a chunin, asking Organ to join her in her embarkation of taking him down. Mika and Yuki see this go down, and wonder if they stand a chance against the Demon Lord. Meanwhile, within a more established bar, we see Kunai sitting down alongside his other girls. He comments about how nice this establishment is, eventually drawing attention from the waiter. He asks what they want to eat, but Luna stops them, instead ordering everything on the menu for them. With this starting the beginning of a long-lasting friendship, Luna proposes a cheers to their long-lasting partnership. They then begin diving into the food, it being a delicacy like no other. After this is over, Kunai wonders if he should eat at more normal places. As he stands around, he tells a waiter to bring this to his table, pulling out a strawberry tart. He informs the others that this is on him, so they should dig into it, hoping they will enjoy it. Like he expected, they love the taste, showing his efforts weren't in vain. While they eat, an old hag emerges before them, while wearing super nice and expensive clothing. With her emergence, Kunai decides to invite her to sit down still, not knowing why this fatso came to talk with her. He asks Luna with telepathy who this lady is, so she informs her that she is someone super influential amongst the nobles. She reveals that she is dangerous to have her as an enemy, so it would be best to try and recruit her to their side. With this being said, Kunai asks her to sit down, hoping to get on her good side. He talks about how he saved AKU and healed her leg, making the fatso impressed. As they talk, they move on to the topic of the city, where Kunai informs them that he thinks this city is well made for something of its size. With him not seeing any homeless within the town, he says it's all good but has one main problem. He explains that if he were to make the entire land into a heaven, then everything would become better. He proposes becoming the leader of the country, saying he could make it much nicer within only a few years. She gets intrigued, so she asks what he means by this, so he shows her. He whips out a bar of soap and causes her to question what a bar of soap can do. With all of the girls' skins dazzling in the light, she thinks that this soap might be a bit different than what she usually uses. He tells her that he will give this to her for free, only wanting her to one day visit his bath when he opens it up. He talks of all the different features he will include within it, making it relaxing for anyone in the world to enjoy. After hearing all of this, the fat lady begs to let him come to this bath, promising not to let anything she heard today spill out. While they talk, the building suddenly begins to shake, causing Kunai to inspect what's going on. Before he does, a waiter runs inside, claiming they are being attacked by a group of Satanists. Upon hearing this, he rushes into the scene, telling the others to keep the civilians safe. Luna protests his decision, asking to come help, but he reminds her that he can't protect her if she is on the battlefield. With this being said, he explains they need to sit back and be protected by you, showing she is more than just a doctor. After further exploration, he finds various people getting killed for no reason, forcing him to show them who the true demon is. He runs in to go save the people, but notices Yuki and Mika already in the middle of a battle. They call him the Demon Lord, forcing the Satanists to realize who they are dealing with. He proves his strength by attacking them with his various spells, taking them all out with ease. After putting the Satanists in their place, he confronts the leader, asking what his plan was. Before he gets an answer, the Satanist draws his blood in order to summon a demon from hell. Appearing out of the game is a mid-level demon named Carnival, still not realizing who they are up against. Apparently, the Satanists used up all of their lives in order to summon this clown, making Kunai a bit disappointed. The demon then uses its power to create a large field, entrapping everyone within his surroundings. This makes Carnival think it's time to go crazy, but he's quickly injured by a rock thrown by Kunai. He tells him that he should shut his filthy mouth, asking if he knows who he is. He informs him that his clothes and voice are hideous, so he should bow down to him. This enrages Carnival, so he rushes him, but before he reaches him, he stops after seeing his bloodlust. Kunai informs him that he is going to take this fight seriously, so he needs to get ready for him. Upon seeing this, Carnival tries to reason with him, but before he can, Kunai kills him with ease. Thanks to his feats, the townspeople rush over to his side, thanking him. Realizing he isn't just the self-proclaimed Demon Lord, Yuki then runs over to him and asks to let him show his gratitude for earlier. Kunai decides to just ignore him instead, deciding to chain smoke.